Let's dive deep into Calgary. In case you're already here or planning to make the move, let's talk about the goods, the bads, and the uglies that often remain unmentioned. With years of experience as a Calgarian myself, I want to shed light on honest facts and a lot of important things that are often unsaid. This video will help you understand if Calgary is the place for you. Now, I don't want to sit here and tell you 5 pros and 5 cons. That just wouldn't be fair. So let's sit down and talk about everything you need to know about Calgary, from crime rates to immigration, schooling for kids, parks, nightlife, infrastructure, community, and talk about all the pros and cons of each individually. Calgary is known for its greenery and the mountains. We have the famous Bow River flowing through the heart of Calgary. Matter of fact, we have 2 rivers, the Bow River and the Elbow River, both flowing through Calgary. But what a lot of people don't talk about is the drive to the mountains. It's important to understand we are close to the mountains, only really about an hour drive. But we are not right at the mountains. It's 2 different things. And I'm surprised to find some people are disappointed to know that. So if you're looking to be right at the mountains, you might be better off living at Kenmore. I know a lot of my real estate buyers are okay making that drive to the mountains, but I also know some clients that are not willing to do that, especially the ones that like traveling every single day or very often every week. Secondly, wildfire. We did not see a lot of wildfires back in the day, but with environmental changes, pollutions, global warming becoming a real thing, we are starting to see a lot of wildfires, which means not only poor visibility, but we're actually inhaling that smoke. Studies say wildfire smoke is as worse as having 7 cigarettes a day. And again, like a lot of things, this is something you're not dealing with every single day, but there are days and there are sometimes even weeks that you have to deal with a potential wildfire and the smoke throughout the city. With being this close to the mountains and water, we of course are lucky to have so much outdoor activities, from hiking, fishing, jet skiing, and for water activities that only really require human efforts like rafting, driftboarding, canoes, kayaks, you don't even have to make the drive to the mountains. You can do that all right here within the city at the Bow River. And don't think the fun stops here. In wintertime, we have other activities like snowboarding, skiing, ice skating, and so much other things to keep you active all year long. Now let's talk about the unbeatable infrastructure. Calgary is ranked the #1 city for drivability. A survey done worldwide, Calgary scored a full 100 for drivability. Compared to what you see in Toronto, Vancouver, Montreal, Calgary has some great highways. But one thing you will start noticing is our roads are starting to be a lot busier in the last couple years. There were times where honestly we never had to wait for a red light, and now you might be lucky if you're able to pass certain intersections on the 2nd or even the 3rd light. But what you probably notice is we have a lot of available space for expanding our roadways. Take example Stony Trail, one of the easiest highways to commute in Calgary. We have all the space in the world to expand. And then take Deerfoot Trail, one of the busiest highways in the city, which also has plenty of space to add more lanes. And then if you compare Calgary to other metro cities that were established way back then, they would not have the same kind of space available for future goals or future expansions. And with that, Calgary is great for drivers, but what about those who rely on public transportation? This is where things get a little complicated. Some might say Calgary has great transportation, and others will strongly disagree. You see, the problem here is Calgary does have very good public transportation if you're living in the right communities and traveling to the right areas. We have plenty of bus services, not only just in the older communities, but even the newer areas that are still under development. But these newer communities do have some kind of restrictions in terms of timing and even frequencies. Besides that, we have C trains, which are definitely a lot more convenient than waiting for a bus that might only stop by once or twice every hour. For C trains, we have 2 separate lines, the blue line and the red line, connecting the city together. And with the kind of growth we have seen in the last couple of years, we already have the 3rd expansion of a brand new C train line called the Green Line. The project has already been funded and is anticipated to start in 2024. Now, for those who don't take public transit or drive, Calgary offers the world's biggest indoor walkway network, often referred by many names like Jaywalk Plus 15, connecting more than 130 downtown buildings and about 16 kilometers of indoor space. A lot of people will leave it at that, but I do want you to know these indoor walkway systems are not 24/7. They're only running weekdays 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. and weekends from about 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Now, coming back to public transportation, I think it's very important to know about the increase in crime rate. Not a lot, but there are a few train stations that are walking distance to shelter homes which are in downtown. We are seeing reported incidents of stabbing. Not to scare anyone off to stop using transit, but please take care and please plan your trips ahead. Be cautious, use public hours, and just be aware of your surroundings. Get ready for some good time because Calgary is one of the sunniest cities in Canada with an average of 333 days of sunshine every single year. And in the summertime, I would say Calgary has the best mild temperatures you can possibly ask for. But in the coming years, we are starting to see Calgary get a lot hotter than we are used to, where we need ACs. And trust me, we Calgarians are not used to ACs. For the winter, you probably already heard terrible stories about the weather, so I'm not gonna sugarcoat it in any way. Yes, we have winter. We are technically in Canada. Every city has winter. And yes, even Vancouver has winter. But some people will argue the winter in Calgary is not as bad as you might have heard from people who have actually never visited Calgary. Rarely in Calgary you will find the need to pick up snow from our everyday roads. Where if you go to major cities in other parts of Canada like Toronto, the snow literally needs to be picked up and towed away in a truck to keep the city running. We don't see that here in Calgary. Calgary has a colder weather, but not as much snow. We honestly just push our snows to the side and it never bothers our everyday lifestyle. So while checking the weather network, it might look like Calgary is a couple degrees colder, but I personally find it a lot reasonable to deal with Calgary snow. And the best part is we don't have the chilly winds coming from the oceans like Toronto, Montreal, and even Vancouver does. In fact, we have quite the opposite. We were talking about being so close to the mountains. We have Chinook winds that are the secret weapons we Calgarians use to fight our winter. Chinook is pretty much a blow of hot air coming from the Rocky Mountains, melting away all the snow, even in deep winter times. Chinook winds have such a dramatic impact to the city that the temperatures can change by almost 20 degrees, all when Chinook starts in a single day. Now that's summer and winter, but overall Calgary does have a little bit of a bipolar weather. You can see snow, rain, thunder, and sunshine all in just one day. Does it happen every single day? No. Do you get used to it? Yes, very fast. Now let's talk about my personal favorite, opportunities. Calgary is a thriving hub for immigration. We have strong oil market here in Alberta and one of the youngest population with an average age of just 38, 37.6 if you want the exact numbers. Which means we have a lot of youth, growth, and a lot of opportunities. With more than 120 languages being spoken in Calgary, I'm sure you'll find like-minded humans to get along with. And for immigrants looking to put their roots here in Calgary, you've probably seen a lot of out-of-country immigrants having Calgary as their top priority for very clear reasons. Immigration and opportunities tie right back to growth and planning. With the number of people moving to Calgary, our infrastructure is coming under stress. Our roads are busier than ever, our school systems are running over capacity, and even the transit system is getting a punch. Funny enough, for the first time in Calgary, I've seen water restrictions because we have so much consumption happening here in the city. The city only allows you to water your lawn twice in a week, hoping for that same water to find a better place where it's much more needed. But we have some great buildings, towers, and infrastructure available for Calgarians. But on the other side of the argument, we are lacking some major infrastructure as well. that could be holding back our growth. Take example, the two major cities in Alberta, Calgary and Edmonton, still don't have any public railway connecting the cities together. We have a proposed plan to connect Banff National Park right from Calgary Airport. Cost is about $1.5 billion. Still a proposal, still in the talks. Taking the city to the next big level could be a big leap for Calgary, creating tourism, bringing in more money, but the initial startup cost is not cheap at all. Our Calgary schools are running over capacity, but we do have new schools coming by sooner than you actually think. Matter of fact, we have brand new schools opening up this year alone, like the North Trail High School. And still, Calgary holds more than 100 parks within the city, all for future school developments. All that really means is the city has plans in mind already to go to the next level. All it needs is some time and for its citizens to have some faith. Let's talk some dollars. Calgary has the number one most affordable metropolitan city here in Canada. With no provincial tax, we have no PSTs, no HST, and only a 5% federal tax, which means buying the same products in Montreal, Toronto, or even Vancouver will cost you a lot more. And the other places where you get a tax break other than Calgary or Alberta would be a province like Yukon. This is something I've personally noticed myself. Gas being a lot cheaper here in Alberta, and even a lot of your grocery items. Funny enough, a lot of the milk in Alberta comes from Quebec, and all the milk coming from Quebec is a lot cheaper to us as Alberta residents as it is for Quebec residents themselves. We get huge 4-liter jars, and they have to buy 1 or small liter pouches. We have clean water coming right from Bow River, filtered through world-class equipment. Not only on the way in, but filtered the same level of quality on the way out before we put it back into the rivers. How neat is that? We have more than 5,600 parks, over 1,000 kilometers of pathways for your active lifestyle, and of course mountains. And if all of that is not enough, we have a pretty decent nightlife. Okay, it's not Las Vegas for sure. And I would even argue the nightlife in Calgary is nothing like Vancouver or Toronto. But if you're looking for a good time once in a while, Calgary has you covered with great foods, some excellent bars, restaurants throughout the city. And yes, most of our places are open late night, unlike Edmonton. Calgary is built for those looking to grow and looking to establish. Now, you might be thinking, Mohit, you're going all over the place. Well, me as a realtor here in Calgary, I love my city, but that doesn't mean the city is right for everyone, which is why it's important for you to hear both sides of the story and truly sit down and decide if the city is right for you and for your lifestyle.